Hello. It's Monday morning, 6:41. Just leaving the yard. It's 11 degrees. And guess what? Yep, still in my shorts. Let's go trucking. Well, that sounded like I was being enthusiastic, didn't it? Fucking hell, I'm not. I'm anything but enthusiastic. Oh, I didn't want to get up this morning. I didn't want to come to work. Dear, oh dear. Right, eventually got home about Saturday morning. Must have been about 10:30, something like that. I was in and out of the docks rather rapidly. Box off, boom, straight away. Pulled onto got into the docks. The longest period of time was queuing up to get through Pre-Gate, actually. Got through the docks.
At the end of the road, turn right, Normandy Way.
As soon as I pulled onto it, I reversed onto a slot. The straddler was already. Well, I was doing my twist locks, and the straddler pulled up ready to take my box off. So
turn right.
Reversed into the slot, hopped out, and the box was gone. Brilliant. So I was in there about 15 minutes, 16 minutes, 18 minutes, I think, because I got held up at the very start. So yeah, unpacked the truck, got my gear out, and made my way home to the gorgeous Kira. Saturday, what did we do Saturday? We actually went out Saturday. We went shopping. We had to go and do some shopping.
After
like you do.
a quarter of a mile, cross the roundabout and take the first exit, Normandy Way.
And then we went shopping, and then I was knackered because I've been up since like 12:30 in the morning. That's like just after midnight, as you'd have known from my previous video. And
cross
I was
the
absolutely shattered.
and
So
take the first exit.
Kira said she hadn't been sleeping well either, so we went to bed. And slept, woke up. Should have set an alarm, really. By the time we got back home, and I started getting some videos together, and I went to bed. I went up and went to bed. We put the Grand National on to record.
After a quarter of a mile, go right on the roundabout and take the second exit, Berry Road.
And went to bed and woke up 7:20. What's the time? I went, I reckon it must be. So I always play the guess game. Guess what time it is. And I'm pretty good normally.
Go right on the roundabout and take the second exit.
Go on, my son, you can go. Well, has he got a wheel lock in that? Maybe not. A bit of noise, and there's some smoke coming out of it. Keep an eye on that. And I can't smell nothing. Or can I? I don't know. Anyway, woke up. It was 7:20. It's like shit. I've got lasagna to cook. So we went downstairs and I had a few ciders, put some tunes on. Made a delicious lasagna, I must say. It was delicious. All homemade. I don't use no sauce out of a jar or shit like that. No, got to be properly made. It was lovely. So yeah, I was happy with that. And then by the time we got to bed, it was like, because we ate really late, watched the Grand National, watched a bit of stuff on TV, and it was like nearly 1 o'clock in the morning. But we'd had like 3 or 4 hours sleep in the afternoon, so you know, didn't wake up particularly early on Sunday, about 8ish, 7:30, something like that. I went down, put the kettle on, got the videos going. So it takes a bit of time to you know, do all the videos. It's not just a question of like downloading them and then backing them straight back up again. You've got to bolt them all together and use a bit of software. Oh, it's easy to do, but just a little bit of time consuming. And it takes time for it to go through the run through the system, if you know what I mean. So yeah, so that was and then we had some really long discussions, and we talked through, ran some figures through, because we spent the morning looking at houses. We went back, I woke up at like 7:30, 8 o'clock, made a brew, and we just made several brews all morning. We didn't get up until lunchtime, and then looked at houses. We're 99.9% certain that France isn't a goer at the moment. And it's not that we've given up on it, it's just when we run the figures, it makes sense for us to stay in Scotland. And also,
after 900 feet, turn right, A326, Marchwood bypass.
some of you may not believe this, it depends on your political stance or your view on environmental issues, but my own environmental issues is that the world's gone to shit, isn't it? The environment's gone to shit. It really has. We are warming up as a world. We are globally warming, and anyone who disbelieves that, you really do need to go and have, in my opinion, and I'm sure you may think the same about me, but I personally think you need to go and have your head given a wobble. The scientific proof is without doubt these days. So, when we went to France last year, it was so hot. We're looking at 42 degrees. It was so hot for about two days
right,
when it was at its peak.
326, Marchwood bypass.
We couldn't do anything. We had 2 days where we just had to sort of basically hunker down in the shade and pray that we weren't going to frazzle on the times that we did have to go. It was too hot to move, you just had to lay as still as you possibly could and hope you would get caught within a bit of a breeze. It was murderously hot. And France is warming up. Spain, all the way through you've only got to look at Africa and how it's in certain areas it's becoming more and more arid, and that's coming up through Morocco and all the north of Africa, and heading into Spain, and but the bottom part of Portugal is getting warmer, more arid. Bottom parts of France, all the forest fires through Spain. France has already had its first forest. Spain has already had its first forest fires.
After 900 feet, go right on the roundabout and take the second exit, A35, Totten bypass.
It's happening quicker than we believe, or we're led to believe. It's happening, and it's happening fast. So we want to future-proof. We've got another 20 years on this earth.
Go right on the roundabout and take the second exit.
And our kids have probably got 50 plus years. And their kids, if and when they have some, may have another 100 years on top of that. So, it's a bit of a concern of ours. I know you say, oh yeah, well it shouldn't be a concern. Well, it is, and we do get worried about it. We're not worried, but someone's had a coolant leak there. So yeah, it is a concern. It's also a thing that last year, I think it was last year or the year before. No, I think it was last year, that for the first time ever in the World Championships of champagne producing, who do you think the winner was? Where do you think the vineyard was? Vineyard. Where do you think the vineyard was? Was it in the region which is known for champagne, and funnily enough goes under the name of the Champagne region, in France? No, it wasn't. It wasn't at all, because it's getting too bloody hot in France. the vines aren't coping well with it. It's too hot. They like a certain temperature.
After
They like a certain
mile,
humidity.
keep left.
Do you know where the winner was? Beat all the French famous vineyards of years. Yeah, British. The vineyard was British. We beat the French at their own game. You know what I mean? It's like, how did that even happen? Well, I'll tell you how it happened. Global warming, that's how it happened. It's as simple as that.
After 900 feet,
We
keep
have
left,
now the temperate
then cross the
climate
roundabout
in the
and
south
take
of
the second
England
exit.
for growing the best vines. With that in mind, who do you think
Keep left, then
Where is the best
cross
place
the roundabout and take the second
to grow
exit.
black currants at the moment? Scientifically proven as well. Yeah, Scotland. I didn't know any of this. But anyone who does can back me up on this. But they need, and a lot of berries, berry fruiting plants need a minimum
Cross
amount
the roundabout and take the second exit, M271, towards Nursling.
of temperature below 7 degrees for them to fruit prolifically. So, as an example, black currants need 7,000 hours, no, sorry, 2,000 hours, 2,000 hours of temperatures during the winter of below 7 degrees for them to fruit successfully. You can't do that down south because the temperatures don't get that, we don't have that amount of time, because you always think, oh yeah, fruit, they need warm temperatures. Oh, well, actually no, it's the winter that causes the problem. It's not the summer, it's the winter. Go. And they need 2,000. The only place you can get 2,000 hours of below 7 degrees is Scotland at the moment. So everything's shifting up. So what used to be, everything's shifting up. So in the next 5 to 10 years, because things are moving at a rapid pace, and we're just not, I don't think, us normal folk, I don't think we've got a grip on how fast things are really moving. I don't think anyone has. But in a few, we've already seen that the wines that are being produced in the UK are becoming better than those of our European southern neighbours due to global warming, and things have all moved it up. So what used to be mid France is now southern England. So what was good to grow in southern England, the garden, Kent, the garden of England, is now moved up another 400 or 500 miles and hitting into Scotland. It's the way the world's going. It's the way the world's going. So we're future-proofing as well. Plus the fact Scotland, now this is the other thing, people aren't spending the money going abroad. Kira made a brilliant observation when we went on the Eurotunnel. We noticed something. Now normally when we go on the Eurotunnel, because it is like the most expensive way to get to Europe, but it's quicker and easier, and we just prefer it. And
after half a mile, go right
this
on the
isn't
roundabout and take
meant
the
to
third
sound
exit, M27,
snobby-ish
towards
or
London.
anything, because those of you that know me and have been listening for a while know one thing I'm not is a snob. We work hard and we play hard, both of us. And it was very noticeable. You can
Go right on the roundabout and take the third exit.
There's a saying in there that if you go into a company car park and look at the cars, if they're all beat about and really old knackers parked up in there, the company don't pay good wages. If you go into a car park and the cars are all Jags, Mercs, Range Rovers, and Land Rovers, do you know what I mean? BMWs, then the company's paying a fair whack. There's going to be the odd knacker in there, but on a whole, you look at what most people drive, and you can. So it's a gauge of it's a general gauge of wealth, I think. Now, when we travelled on the Eurotunnel, we Gorgeous Kira applied that logic and looked at the cars that were around. There was no old knackers there. There was no beat up old vans. There was no beat up old cars. There was no small little cars. It was all it was all big 4x4s or gas guzzlers, or do you know what I mean? It was all lumpy cars, big, lumpy, fairly what you would class as a luxury car. The vast majority of them were that, and I think that was a sign that though only we're in a cost of living crisis. People can't afford to go away to Europe for Easter. It's bloody expensive. And we looked at what we spent for
Take
a week.
the
It was
exit,
like,
M27, then take the motorway.
It was a lot of money we spent. Well, we enjoyed ourselves and we didn't have to worry about a thing. It was lovely. So, So yeah, it was a bit of an eye opener, really. First time we've ever noticed it like that. And it's the same. People are staying in the UK now. They're not, the flights going out of the UK have still not reached pre-pandemic levels. Holidays booked abroad. There was a bit of a flurry this year, but nothing on the way they usually are. Things are just down. However, people are taking more short breaks throughout the UK. And in Scotland, is a huge tourist area, and they are up. I looked at the figures. You can go onto the Scottish government website, as I suspect you can go onto the English government website, gov.uk, but when gov.scotland or whatever it was, and it shows you all the figures for Airbnbs and rentals and holiday vacations and all out of the official national statistics, but the way the trend is going. We looked at all of that and went, actually no, it's growing up there. It really is taking off. Tourists travelling to Scotland, UK tourists, homegrown, never been. The holiday to Spain or Portugal, not really interested anymore. Long haul, not really interested anymore.
After 1.2
Stay in the
miles,
UK?
take
Yeah, that
the
sounds like
exit
fun. We haven't done that before. Let's do that.
M27 towards London.
And everyone's heard of Airbnbs now, and it's a stand. 4 or 5 years ago, before the pandemic, Airbnb was it was you talk about it and you do the odd one, but it wasn't like it is now. So yeah, Scotland looks favourable, very favourable. I'm glad I'm not going out the A34. Whether you can believe that sign or not, I've got no idea. And so we found a house. Cut a long story short, it's more expensive than we were really looking for, but it's not, if you know what I mean.
After half a mile, take the exit 4 M27 towards London, then take the motorway.
We have a 5-year plan from the day of inception when we go.
Take the
within
exit
that 5 years,
4, then take the motorway.
We will be able for the Gorgeous Kira to give up her work, or at least wind down to just a couple of days a week on a consultancy basis, and not have to worry about and have the same level of income that we have at the moment. We can afford at the moment for me to not work at all and still be alright. So that would be the plan when we move to Scotland. Kira can carry on working. I will then take up the task of getting the business up and running, which will involve numerous income streams of Airbnb, campsite, pods, glamping, whatever you want to call it, as long as a traditional campsite. all sorts of other different things, which I'll come on to at a later date. But it's doable. We've run the figures. We've run them so many times now that we know what we can and cannot do. But one of the things we thought about, there's two ways of going about it. You can either go, right, I can either buy, and we want land. We want land. So there's two ways around all of this. Come on, come on, come on. Oh, don't start slowing down.
After
Overtake
1.2
me
miles,
in your
keep
V8.
right.
Oh. 6.3 V8 monster. So we can either buy cheap, and I do mean cheap, up in Scotland, which then requires total renovation work. And so basically you're starting from scratch, but you're going to have to spend 150 to 200,000 pounds in getting it up to scratch. Or you can buy something that is effectively all done and dusted for you. There's finishing off, and there's bits that you would like to complete to carry it out to get it to where you want to be, but most of the work has already been done. So it's a fine line of picking what you want to do, or where you want to, or finding something that goes, no, that's us, that's our style, that ticks all the boxes.
After half a mile, keep right.
Because trying to find something that ticks all the boxes is extremely difficult. If you're just looking for a house, it's not so bad, but there's still boxes to be ticked. Does it have a driveway? Does it have a garage? Does it have neighbours?
Keep right.
Where's the main road? Is there a main road? Do I want to be near a main road? Do I want to be that? Do you know what I mean? But when you're looking at it and going, well, we need this to be able to produce and run as a business, then there's even more boxes that require ticking. We found a house that ticks all the boxes. Now it's more money, but the thing with it being more money is that
follow M3
95% of the work is done.
Miles.
So we could walk in tomorrow, and the Airbnb, because it's already functioning as an Airbnb, will be up and running, providing an income from day one. So, a friend of ours just opened up an Airbnb, and it took them about the first two to 6 weeks at that, no interest whatsoever, nothing at all, and they're fully booked all the way through the summer. I think they're booked up until September, fully booked all the way through. Now I know location is a prime example, but theirs is really nice. It's luxury accommodation. It's not just it's better than what you would have at home, if you know what I mean. Well, yeah, it's luxury, top end, and that's what we would end up with. That's what there is in this particular house. It is top end, and we're so tempted just to pull the pin on it. So tempted, and the trouble is the stars haven't quite aligned yet. But I know that we will both be really disappointed if it were to slip through our fingers. So might know a bit more by the end of the day. We'll have to find out. I'm not sure by the end of the day, but do you know what I mean? Personally, I think it'll be sold by the time we get round to being able to do anything, but we're at least hopeful that something may happen. But we've certainly made the decision that we need to do something. I've got to be honest, it's getting harder and harder for me to leave. I sat on the chair this morning having a coffee. I sat in the chair and he's sitting there going, I really don't want to be here. I'm all right now. Well-ish. I don't want to be away from home for a week at a time. Shit. I didn't get married to be on my own. Why would you? So, and Kira's getting the hump of it. She's starting to get, you know, the kids have all left. It's just her rattling around in the house with a cat. And you know, it's just we want something different. It's not that we want more. We want something different. We want to be together. That sounds sweet, doesn't it? But you know, that's how we are. That's how we are. We work well as a team. We have a laugh. We have good fun. You know, I could be a nightmare. She can be a bit of a nightmare sometimes, but that's how it works, isn't it? But we have a lot of fun. We make sure we do. But you know, that is hindered because of the way that our lives are led at the moment, and that's no way to go forward. So we've got to do some drastic changes. But this, you know, with this house, just give you a brief idea of it. It's an old vicarage, 4 acres. It's got it's a 4-bedroom house. 4-bedroom, 5-bedroom, might be 5. The house is beautiful, absolutely stunning. Nothing needs doing to it. It's in walk-in showroom condition. It is beautiful whilst retaining all its old features. It's just stunning. And done in the style that we both like. It is just a gorgeous house. And the decoration, a couple of little bits need changing, and we need to do a little bit in the kitchen. But most of it is already done. I'd like to put in an island, and just to give me a bit more space. But the rest of the house is just absolutely mind-blowingly beautiful. It's got a wooded drive, beautiful gardens, stunning gardens. But it also has a 1-bedroom cottage, Airbnb, all done to a luxurious standard. Really, really is nice. It also has a studio. When I say a studio, they use it as a gym at the moment, but it's like it's a barn conversion into a studio with big doors, loads of light coming through the roof, all done absolutely stunning. And that could be used as a yoga room or an artist studio or something along those lines. It also has an office that's been made, which is part of a barn, which is lovely. It's got a workshop, it's got storerooms, it's also got a barn with a mezzanine floor, which I'll come on to that in a moment or two. But it has room for a 5-site campsite, which getting planning is not an issue with a 5-sighter. You just have to have running water and disposal points for the waste, which is easy enough to do, and we can do that. We can get showers put in and toilets put in, which is very straightforward to do. It sounds like it's complicated, but it's not. There's lots of different ways around it. We can do that relatively well, inexpensively and easily, so that's good. It also has around 3 acres, 2.5 to 3 acres laid to pasture, which is currently rented out to the local farmer. So either we leave that as it is, or we take a little bit of the land left, because I want to grow lots of vegetables. But we don't need 3.5 acres of vegetables. That's a full-time job on its own. But take a half acre back to an acre. We also have a wooded area where we could put some pods, potentially, the glamping side of things. Steady on, soldier. You're very close to me in that van. Very close. So the income potential is pretty good. Even if you run the figures on the bare minimum. So what we did was we looked at what the average occupancy rates were, the national occupancy rates for a one-bedroom cottage, and because all this information is available. Now, data can be interpreted lots of different ways, but you know, you've got to look at it sensibly, and you look at the data and go, right, okay. You look at the occupancy rates, so that's what we did, and we looked at that figure, and then just to be on the safe side, before, okay, let's just imagine they're only half right. So that's what they say it is, and that's a fair average. And you look at it and you go, yeah, that's you know, I reckon that's about right. That's probably about right. And then we looked at worst case scenario where we thought, well, actually, do you know what? Let's half that. Can we survive on half that? And the answer to it was, yeah, we can. If we're only half right, yeah, we can, and we can still produce a reasonable income. Even if I've got to go, and I even looked at, you know, if I've got to go back on the agency or get a job up there, you know, worst case scenario. Oh, we didn't include any of George Shakira's bonuses. We didn't include those. Now, as you all know, that the Gorgeous Kira earns a good whack. And her bonuses are more than what a national salary is, national average salary is. Don't always get them, but you know. The last year or so, business has been growing, and they've been doing well. And there's no signs of a slow up, so. But we haven't included those. We haven't built those into a. Her bonuses alone would be more than on a par with my salary. And you all know I'm a multi-millionaire trucker, so it's yeah. So it's all doable. It's all doable. So we're just waiting for the stars to align. But we could be waiting for another 6 months, and in that time, you know, we've been looking for a little while now. We've always had a dabble and looked at Scotland and looked at Wales, because we always needed a, you know, we play it safe. We wanted a plan A, and we wanted a plan B, C, D, E, and F, and that's how we roll. You know, we want to be safe and secure. We're not going to do anything rash. We don't do anything stupidly. Analyse, take a good look at it, and then run the figures and run them all different directions. And if we still come up with the same ballpark figures, then it's a goer. If you know, there have been things where we look at it and go, "Well, that ain't going to work. That won't work." You know, we've looked at some gorgeous properties that just don't. You know, and we got absolutely stunning that have everything plus more than we want. But when you look at it and go, right, okay, so what can we make out of that? Remember, this isn't somewhere just to live. This is somewhere to make a business as well, and make a living for ourselves over the next 5 years. You know, is it sustainable? What happens in 5 years? What happens in 10 or 15 or 20 years? How is this going to work for us then? You know, we're taking all that into consideration because, you know, I'm 56. Well, 56 this year, you know, and whilst it's never too late, you've got 1 foot in the grave, haven't you? You know what I mean? So we've got to, you know, you got to take the things we've taken into consideration has been astronomical. What happens if this happens? What happens if that happens? You know, there's so many what ifs. But at the end of the day, you just got to go, do you know what, I'm going to grab it by the bollocks, I'm going to run with this. I'm going to go, let's go. And I think we're getting to that stage now where it's like, let's see how the land lies. Let's put out some feelers now. We know that we can do it, we know that it's possible to do. So yeah, a productive weekend, really. A productive weekend. So what else happened here? So after all of that, we had gorgeous Kira cooked a lovely roast chicken dinner. And then for about 3 hours I couldn't move. And one just like a little bit I couldn't move. It was like painful to even like. It started hurting, you know. Just ate so much. It was just lovely though. Oh, the roast parsnips were sweet as lovely. Roast carrots, roast potatoes were spot on. Bread sauce, loads of bread. I love bread sauce. Proper gravy. Proper gravy. Yeah, all in all, absolutely spot on. Lovely weekend. Oh, I'm going to get overtaken now. Oh, yawning. Come on through. It's been overtaken. Know who that is? Empty box. I've got an empty box on. So today, right, plan today. As it stands, is I'm going up to a container yard in Barking, which if you remember I've done a video going in there before, and it's the sort of place where if you want to bury a body, that would be the place to have it done. Do you know what I mean? It's just like it's fucking rough around there. So we're going there to get this box off, but I'm going back in the London Gateway to another container yard to get an empty box on, and then run that trailer up to Sandy, up the A1, and then apparently I'm going back to St Stevedores, although that might, who knows, that might change. I've got no idea. So that's really the plan today. Not a great deal, swapping and dropping and hooking and loading. So yeah, I didn't get a time to start today, so I just decided to get up when I got up and then trundled in the work. So I don't know if I'm going to be late, or if I'm late or early. I'm past caring, to be honest. Find out when they phone up, moan at me, where are you? Not that they will. So yeah, that's the plan. I've waffled on for long enough. I've told you loads there. I'll leave you to digest all of that, but whatever happens, hopefully you'll stay with me and come along for the journey, because it's going to be a bit rock and roll. It's going to be exciting, whatever we do. I'm going to document it because, you know, for all the reasons why I document this, it's so I've got a memory in years to come when I've lost my marbles, that I can sit and a nurse, whilst I've just pissed myself, sat in a nursing chair, I can have my mind taken off the fact that I'm wet and cold, and I can watch something on an iPad, and the nurse can go, oh, look at that, this used to be you, this was you, this is what you used to do, and I can turn around and go, no, that bloke's an idiot, no, that's not me. I can deny all knowledge and probably get away with it because I've got dementia. I know I shouldn't laugh about these things, but you know what I mean, you got to, you know, we're only here once, and you gotta go with it. Not worry too much. You got to take things into consideration, like we have, but you know, you got to really go with it. So yeah, I'm going to document everything, and hopefully I'll be able to do a bit more about us, myself and the gorgeous Kira. Because I know some of you quite like that. But, just do a bit more of us. and how we're doing it in a board, you know, board. Because at the moment I just do driving videos. That's all I do. I don't, you know. It's like the camera's pointing out the front, and that's it, and I just waffle along. But I think sometimes I like watching videos where people are actually doing things, and showing you around places, and you know, showing what we're up to and how we're doing it, and the progress of a project. You know, because we got some ideas, we got some really good ideas of what else we can do, and with the available buildings that we've got left, because some of them haven't been touched. There's 2 buildings that haven't had anything done to them. One is a barn with a mezzanine floor, and that's got cafe stroke bistro written all over it for the campsite and for holding small little events, which is a, you know, a bit of a money spinner. Chilly evenings, lasagna evenings, you know, Italian night, Chinese night. You'd have a Korean night, but you'd have to lock the cats up. See, I've just offended every Korean there, haven't I? But you know what I mean? You know, it'd be, you know, or pizza nights, that sort of thing. You know, the opportunity, the opportunities are there. And then we've got another one. It's like a little bothy. It's single story. It's probably no more than, there's probably more room in a 20-foot container. But it's a nice square stone building with a slate roof, which needs completely renovating. But again, another little project, quite fun. Turn it into a little office. You know, there's lots that can be done. So you know, there's all sorts of things to do. Polytunnels to build. So I want to grow a little shitload of vegetables. I like gardening. And there's nothing better than eating your own veg. But we can do it on a fairly big scale, which is brilliant. I think, personally. They're lovely. Chickens. We need chickens. So yeah, there's so much. So many things that we can do. So many exciting things. And we just want to get it started. So anyway, I have waffled on. I think there's a whole video here just on this alone. So it's just a life update. Life update, I think I'll call it. Life update. Not live. Life. I-F-E. Life. As in knife. Life. 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 I think I'm losing the plot. So anyway, I'm going to drink some coffee because I think I'm lacking in caffeine. That might... Well, caffeine normally sort of cheers you up a bit. It sort of calms me down, to be honest with you. It sort of mellows me out a bit. It takes away the urge to hurt people as well. So yeah, caffeine's good. I'll speak to you all later.